All right, let's jump right in. We're going to look at a project that asks a really important question. What if the person who could save your life is your neighbor? But what if they've never had the chance to learn how? We're about to explore a plan that's all about creating a network of lifesavers right where they're needed the most.
I mean, really think about that for a second. When an emergency happens, when someone's heart stops, every single second counts. An ambulance can't just teleport there, you know? The person who's in the best position to help is probably someone living right next door. But are they trained? That's the gap this whole initiative is trying to fill. And this is why that gap exists. In just one county in Florida, Hillsborough County, a staggering 46% of households are struggling to make ends meet. We're talking about families living in poverty, or what's known as the ALIC population. They're employed, they're working hard, but they're still paycheck to paycheck. So for them, life-saving training, that's a luxury they just can't afford.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. First, we'll dig into this critical training gap. Then, we'll see how a solution was designed and the options they considered. After that, we'll check out the awesome tools and skills people get, how the training is brought right to the community, and finally, the real-world impact of creating these neighborhood responders.
So yeah, let's start with the heart of the problem. For almost half the families in a community, the ability to save someone's life actually has a price tag, and it's one they just can't pay.
To get this, you really have to understand the term ALICE. It's an acronym, but what it means is simple. These are working families. They have jobs, they earn an income, but it's just not enough to cover the absolute basics. You know, housing, food, healthcare. One flat tire or a sick kid could throw their entire budget into chaos.
And there it is. That's the wall they hit. When you're struggling to decide between paying the rent or the electric bill, a CPR class that costs anywhere from $60 to $200, it's just not going to happen. This cost literally locks out a huge chunk of the community from learning skills that could save a life.
But you know, this is where good people step up. When there's a problem like this, someone always comes along to find a solution. Let's look at the organization that took this challenge on. This is DR Solutions, and their mission? It's simple, it's powerful, and it gets right to the point. It's not just about teaching a class, it's about empowerment. It's about giving people the power to take care of each other, right in their own communities.
Now, coming up with a program like this is way more complicated than just renting a room and putting up a sign. DR Solutions had to really think through the best way to do this so it would have the biggest possible impact.
They basically boil it down to three main choices. The first two use the official American Heart Association training, that's the gold standard. One offered an optional cheap certificate, the other offered no certificate at all. The third option was to just create their own program from scratch and give out a free certificate.
And this is super interesting. They didn't just guess. They used a scorecard to make a logical choice. And you can see right here what mattered most to them. Recognition of certification and feasibility. Those got the highest weight. And when they added it all up, the two options using the recognized AHA training ended up in a dead tie.
So what's the tiebreaker? Well, they went with option one. And the reason why is so important. Giving students the choice to get a legit, industry-recognized certificate for a small fee, like $10, was way more valuable than offering nothing at all. It's something real they can put on a resume for a job or a volunteer application.
So, they've got their plan. Now for the really great part. What do people who take this class actually walk away with? Because it's a heck of a lot more than just some knowledge. We're talking real physical tools. And the training itself is the real deal. Students get top-notch instruction in CPR, how to use an AED, that's a defibrillator, plus first aid and even stop the bleed training for serious injuries. And I'm going to say it again because it's so critical. All of this training is 100% free.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It's right there in their plan. Not only is the class free, but every single person who attends leaves with life-saving equipment, also for free. Now that is what empowerment looks like.
And just look at what's in these free take-home kits. We're not talking about a couple of Band-Aids. This is a full-on individual first aid kit. You've got CPR masks for adults and babies, gloves, gauze, dressings, a blanket, the whole shebang. They're not just leaving with a new skill, they're leaving fully equipped to use it.
Okay, so you have free training and free gear. That's amazing, but it doesn't mean anything if people can't actually get to the class. So they decided to tear that barrier too. The strategy here is just brilliant in its simplicity. They bring the training to the people. They partner with local community centers, setting up shop right in the heart of the neighborhoods they want to serve. This makes it so much easier for people to show up because it's happening at a place they already know and trust.
So let's zoom out and look at the big picture.
You've got free training, free life-saving equipment, and it's all happening right down the street. What does all of that add up to? Well, it's something way bigger than just a few classes.
At the end of the day, this is about building a human safety net. It's about weaving this invisible web of trained, equipped people who can spring into action in those first few critical moments of an emergency. It changes the street from just a bunch of houses into a real, resilient community.
And that kind of leaves you with a final thought, doesn't it? This whole project is about finding and empowering those hidden lifesavers. So it makes you wonder, who are they on your street? And if they had the chance, just how many more could there be?